how somebody made $20,000 a month. They'll send out like 100 messages and say, oh, this is a scam. Who will ever close a client in 100 messages? It took me 7,000.
7,000.
This is abnormal.
Yeah.
Like so many people would literally give
Yeah.
it up. Like, I tried 10, okay, 100, yeah, okay, 1,000. It's crazy. What's the psychology behind it? Like, what makes you so driven?
Don't be a headless chicken and just try to do everything. And then once you find that, give yourself a goal. Don't give yourself a 100 DM goal, 100 cold email goal. Give yourself a goal that will never make you look back to it. So if I bring myself to a goal of 10,000 outreaches, after 10,000 outreaches, I will never look back. If I didn't land a single client, I will never look back into that niche saying, oh, maybe I didn't try hard enough.
If you had to start from scratch today,
Yeah,
where would you start?
I think I would take a full approach towards.
Welcome everybody to another episode of On Path Podcast. Today's episode was brought to you by us. So I have a small favor to ask from you before we get started. Can you please hit that subscribe button so we can help and inspire more people like you every single week? Thank you. Today our guest is Shivam Gupta, a 24-year-old entrepreneur from India who built a marketing agency generating over $250,000 in revenue. He has grown his personal brand to 25,000 followers, worked with hundreds of clients globally, became the master of cold outreach, which is something that most people try to avoid, and built multiple revenue streams along the way. If you are looking to start your own agency or want to build something out of India, this story will inspire you 100%. And now, to the episode.
When you were younger, when you were a kid, did you imagine yourself living in India, or you always know that you would like to live abroad?
I was actually really fascinated by Chicago for some reason. And that was reminded to me by my sister like last month that, oh, you really wanted to shift to Chicago. But now that I've grown up, I do feel like India is a good place for me to stay in.
It is.
Because,
So you like it? You want to stay there?
yeah, I think I'm more of a person who wants to stay, have a base in India, but also travel around to places like Bali, Thailand, Vietnam, all digital nomad spaces. Stay there for 2 months, 3 months, then come back to India as a base. And because I'm making money abroad, like in dollars, it goes a longer way in India. So I can live a much more comfortable life in India, take that dollar to that stretch, and then, live a good life, but also travel, have fun along the way.
So, of course, like, you don't have to reveal all of your finances if you don't want to, but let's say that compared to the average Indian salary, like, where is your income? Like, which level are you at?
It depends on where the person is. For example, if you just graduated college and you did your undergraduate degree, you'll probably be paid around $300 a month in India. That's the starting salary for an average middleman. And it goes up obviously depending on the field you're in, depending on where you are in your career. But at $300 is a start. And you get that around when you're 22 years old. And I'm 23. I just turned 24. So, I would say I'm making like 15 times of that in a month. So I can say there's a huge gap between it. But again, if I see, I also started in 2018. So it's already been 6 years since I started. So if you take into account that, then obviously I do have the experience to earn that. But it's still not an average that a person in India would make out of college as a 24-year-old.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I did.
What did you study?
I did business and entrepreneurship, even though I didn't learn anything.
So it's quite relevant to what you do.
Yeah.
It actually
Kind
isn't.
of,
Like
yeah.
I didn't learn anything in college that I could put into my business at all.
You always learn like in action
honestly,
more.
Yeah, and honestly, college was just a thing that I really didn't want to do. But my mom was really like being
The
Asian.
Indian pressure. From
being
Indian
Asian, my
family
mom was
pressure.
like, I don't care if you make $10,000 a month, you need to have a college degree. Just because, there's always a backup. And in India, it's like you can't say that your son is a college dropout, basically, yeah. So she
It's
was
a bit
like,
of shame there, isn't it?
it's not about shame. It's just about like, if tomorrow you want to, arranged marriages are really popular in India as well. That tomorrow you want to go towards that, even if you have a really good business, they do want an educated person. And education is still linked a lot to a college degree. But it worked out really well for me because I found a really good group of friends who are a really good network for me. And, in India, I can hang around with them. And then unfortunately / fortunately, COVID hit. So 2 years I had in home. So I had online classes which I just used to log into Zoom and not even attend. So I got that chance to build up my business whilst in COVID. So everybody was gaming, playing GTA 5 all day,
Yeah.
building businesses inside GTA 5. I was more grinding outside of that. So I think that was a big turning point.
But also now that you know the experience of the college and what you've learned in real life,
Yeah.
would you say it was at all even remotely worthy?
I think only if you find the right group
Yeah.
of people.
For connections
I think
only,
for
you would
connections.
say.
Yeah, I feel like, especially if you're in the online space of business, you don't have a lot of people around you who understand you.
Yeah.
If you just have somebody in the business background, maybe not an entrepreneur, but somebody who's in business who understands the business side rather than the working 9 to 5 side, I think it's a huge help. And also it's a good way to like recharge yourself, because online world can be really, really empty. You're working on the laptop, you're already on Zoom, there's no physical contact at all. So I think that's a really big thing that you miss, and college just gives you access to that. But you have to be really disciplined if you're in college and trying to start a business, because there's a lot of like, and I remember when I started, I was at like $250, $300 a month at that time. And when I got into college,
At the
I got
very
into,
beginning.
yeah,
So you already
quite good.
matched
The average salary.
the average
from the
salary
beginning.
Yeah.
at the very beginning.
yeah. If I would have gotten a job after college, I was making already that in the first year of college.
Wow.
So yeah, I got into
Did you
bad
study in
habits.
India?
Huh?
Did you study in India? Or
Yeah. So I had
abroad?
studied in a college that had affiliation with Swiss Business School. So it was a degree from Switzerland, but I was still studying in India. So it was
Okay.
an affiliation kind of a degree.
Was the course in English though, or?
Yeah, English. Yeah, because it's a Swiss course. And India's usually English speaking, There's a very big gap that people think that we speak Hindi mostly, but metro cities usually have everything in English. Our schooling was in English.
Oh,
as
really?
well. Yeah. So,
I
and
didn't know that.
Me neither.
Which makes sense. That's why so many Indian people actually, they're easy for them to move and to speak English and do English jobs.
yeah. And I think it's all about habit. Like, obviously, you talk in Hindi. Like, even if you're in Germany and your language is English, you still talk to each other in German, right? Just because
Yeah.
it's easy for you to do that. So in India also that is the case, that people talk in Hindi. But my mom was really strict about me speaking English at home, reading English books, watching only English shows. So Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
So that really,
Are you
like,
grateful now for that?
I hated it at that point. Like, I used to be like, I don't want to do this. But
Yeah.
now that I see, like, I'm here in Bali or like wherever I am, I feel that I'm really grateful for that lesson. Especially
so
like small
helpful.
little things, like, eating with chopsticks was something I used to hate. And then when I went to Thailand to meet a client, I was given pad Thai noodles and no fork. And there was another guy who was asking for fork, and I could see like people were judging him, but I could eat with chopsticks. And that just put me a little bit higher in the hierarchy, that, okay, this guy's
So, before we dive into you,
yeah.
now I'm really curious to learn about your mom.
Yeah.
Like, because for what she was doing, she was investing in your habits and
Yeah.
in your skills to teach you, like,
Very
speaking English at
consciously.
home. Very
Yeah.
conscious, like she knew exactly, like,
Yeah.
learn to eat with chopsticks, because she
Yeah.
knew that he's speaking English, he's gonna move abroad, he's gonna need
Yeah.
to be in a presence of like other people to know how to eat with chopsticks.
Yeah.
And the forcing you to speak English at home,
Yeah.
watching things in English, reading in English, it was
Yeah.
all things that obviously as a kid you hated it.
100%.
But now that's the most useful skills, and
yeah.
probably to a certain degree is
Yeah.
the reason why you're so confident to just move abroad and live there and do your course in a different language in
Yeah.
English and everything.
Yeah, 100%. I
What
feel
was in
that's
her
it.
mind and what she's doing? Like, what did she knew exactly what she was doing? It was like all conscious decisions. And what's her background for her
Yeah.
to know that this is important for my kid?
I actually don't know what you thought at that
Can
time.
we bring her
honestly.
mom in your mom in your podcast?
Yeah, so she's been a really big support since the beginning of my journey. Like, when I started at 17, she was always supporting small businesses. She was the reason I got my first client as well, because I told her I'm going to start this
Wow.
thing, and she just told all her friends that Shivam is starting something online kind of a thing. And I got my first client from there, actually.
From your mom?
Yeah. So
That's the mom you want.
So,
Yeah,
and
like, wow.
and it was like, yeah, I got my client, and at that day I was going to fill out my college application, and I told my dad that I got this $50 a month client. And obviously $50 is nothing, right? Especially if an 18-year-old son comes to you and says, I'm making $50 a month. It's a very normal thing. But my dad was like, do you want to go to college still? And I was like, are you giving me a choice? And he said, college is always going to remain. you can go 1 year later. But if you feel that you have something that you can build right now, the opportunity is there right now. So if you want to take a drop here, you can. It's going to be really difficult. You're going to like, you'll have to work hard for it. But I'm giving you the choice to not do that.
That's good parenting right
So,
there.
Remarkable parenting, yeah. They
You know?
they were great parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really set you up well.
Yeah.
But what is their background? Like, what do they do?
So my dad runs a business of his own. So it's a family business.
Yeah.
So it was started by his great grandfather. So our company's been around for like since 1920s. So it's a tile and sanitary ware. Mom's a housewife slash also a caterer. So her passion is cooking. So she loves to cook for us as well as, she was catering. But yeah, they both are educated, come from good colleges, studied, my mom watches all Marvel movies and things like that. She doesn't watch anything Hindi related.
Yeah.
So she, I think, imparted that on us. It never became like, they never gave me a reason to like rebel against them. I was given
Obviously.
all the permissions. To
Why
do
would
whatever.
you?
Like, yeah, a lot of trust. Like, people are not allowed to step out of their home after 10 p.m. That is not safe. My mom, dad don't mind that at all. It's just that, if you keep that trust, don't break that trust is what I was always told. If you break that trust once, it's never going to come back. So
I can totally relate to that. I had the same level of trust and rules, let's say, on me when I was a kid. Like, they always supported my decision if I didn't want to go to college and if I want to do something else. The going out, the same thing. I never had a time. They just said this to me, don't break the trust.
Yeah. And I think that's very important, right?
So it plays such a key role to how you develop and how you develop your relationship to other people as well.
And to them as well, because I see so many people don't even talk to their parents after they grow up because they hold so much grudges against them. And I think they are building this relationship since the start with me as well, that, even if I'm here, I do want to go back home to see them. Even if I'm working from home, I do give that time of day to them to like just sit around them, give them small things for the knowledge they imparted on me and the habits that they created for me.
That podcast could go so sideways and just talk about good parenting, but we're gonna need your parents for that. So, but you're a great example. They both speak English, right?
Yeah.
So just show them this snippet and tell them like you guys did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Like just
And just with that they kind of like enforced you to listen to English-speaking movies and learn English properly. They opened the entire world for you.
Exactly.
Right? Even though that you maybe didn't want to do that at that time. But when I look at my example as well, I was not good at languages. I hated languages because I just thought I'm not good at languages. But for me, probably the best investment I ever made was that I actually learned English. Because the moment I did that, I was not just focused on one small country with like 10 million people and then trying to source opportunities from that country, but the entire world like opened up to me and like, yes. Right. So I just want to make a point on that they told you to learn English. You learned English. And you said that actually a lot of Indians speak English. So the entire world is in their reach. So what did you do different compared to other people in India who have this kind of belief that, it's very difficult to go out there to build something on my own because this is where I'm from. So like, what was your mindset and what are the things that you did that you think that a lot of people don't do who are also coming from where you are coming from?
Just for structure-wise, for the records, can you first mention what you do a little bit more? Because we're going to mention, it is in the intro from our side, but I think before we dive into that, just mention from your side exactly what you do, and then answer exactly the second one. Just to have it like more for someone who just listens to it. It's like, but what is exactly? Just give this context.
Yeah, so I started off with social media marketing as my main business. Before that is another story that if you guys want to delve into, we can. But I started my social media marketing agency in 2018. And, I bought a course online to start it up. And it was a English speaking course, and it showed how to use Upwork as your main business platform because it's warm leads over there. You build up your cover letter, you build up your profile, start reaching out to businesses who are looking for exactly you. So you don't need to convince them that they need social media marketing. You need to convince them that they need you. So that was a big point for me to build that confidence because I already knew that those people are looking for someone. It just has to be me that they're looking for. So I think that's how I started my journey in social media marketing. Later on, I started doing more outbound with cold DM, cold email, all of that. And I was also targeting Indian clients at that moment. But once I started like having US clients as well as Indian clients, I realized that I want to be working solely in the foreign market, because the Indian market is very different to what the foreign market is. In the Indian market, everybody wants an all-in-one agency. So if you're saying you do social media management, they even want you to do website, they want you to do SEO, they want you to do Facebook ads, and it all should be included in the money that you're charging them. While the foreign clients really like to be focused that this person, if he's offering SEO and Facebook ads, we don't want to work with him because he's not focused on one skill. So I realized that they are much easier to work with. Payments are always on time, which is a huge issue I faced personally in my clients in India. The payments were always late, or like, you always had to get a lot of approvals, things like that. And a very big key for me was the freedom of weekends, because Indian clients, I've had a client call me up at 2 a.m. that our social media post is not looking good. It's not an emergency. Like it could have been done on Sunday or Monday, whatever. With foreign clients, Saturdays, Sundays are off. They don't want you. They don't want you to message them, anything like that. Everything is reserved for Monday. And I think that was the kind of life I really wanted. So I automatically started pushing more towards the foreign client side. And yeah, I feel with the Indian market, everybody can do that, what I do. I think the main issue they face is very small things, when they're sending a outbound message, for example, they don't use the right grammatical language, they don't use punctuation, they will not structure it properly. It's very basics of, when you're starting out. For me, it was really basic, but when I started teaching other people, when I saw what they were sending out, I was really shocked to see that, I always told them that if you were on the other side of this message, would you respond back to it? And 90% of them would say no. So I said, if you won't respond back to them, why are you expecting another person to do that? So that's the number one key, that people just feel that all these businesses online are a get rich quick scheme, that they can just send anything and they still get clients, they can make money. While I believe if a business is easy to enter, like social media marketing, you don't need budget at all, it's an online thing, you just need a laptop to get started. If money is not required, a lot of effort is required. And where there's a lot of money required, not a lot of effort is required. You can automate so many things with money, but if you don't have that, you need to work really hard for it. And I think that's where most people struggle with. They get into it looking at, looking at it, getting, inspired and motivated by watching 3 YouTube videos online on how
but the reality is not the same, isn't it?
How somebody made $20,000 a month. They'll send out like 100 messages and say, oh, this is a scam. Who will ever close a client in 100 messages? It took me 7,000 cold DMs and cold emails when I first started out after Upwork to actually land the first outbound client.
7,000.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. And I didn't give up because I had a really good mentor at that time who was, who really believed in me. And I think also people get really attached to the idea.
That was the thing that what Adam said that made you stand out?
Probably not giving up and also being open about being from India. Yeah. I think that's a lot of people struggle with, is that, when they come from India and they get on a Zoom call, they try to hide the fact that, oh, I'm from India. They'll adapt like a foreign accent. They'll try to hide where they are from. They'll just say, oh, I'm from London or UK, like, where Indian speakers are, but they don't live in India, like Canada, for example. What I used to do is always, my first question to break the ice would be, oh, where are you from? If they would say, oh, I'm from the US, I'd always relate to it by saying, oh, my sister's studying in the US. Which city are you in? I may visit soon, so maybe we can see each other in person. So that was always getting the conversation started with them. And then they used to be like, okay, where are you from? And I used to always say, oh, I'm in the capital region of India. Have you ever visited? And 95% of the people would say, oh, I really want to come to India. I've heard so much about it. Things like that. And if there was a question about why should they work with an Indian, it used to be like time zone. That, oh, how I'm going to work with you in the time zone. I used to say, it's 1 a.m. right now and I'm on a call with you. So I'm always up for calls at 1 a.m. So I'll be in contact with you. And when you're sleeping, I'll be working. And when I'll be sleeping, you'll be working. So you automatically have a 24/7 business going.
Yeah. I love how you reframe this entire thing. Yeah. Because you started out with that a lot of people try to hide the fact that they are from India, they are in India. But you actually turn it completely around, like, yes, I'm in India, and these are the benefits of working with me because I'm here and this is where I'm from.
Yeah. He's using the Batman tactic.
What
Take
is that?
the proclaimed weakness and turn it into strength.
Oh, is it what it is?
The Batman tactic, yeah.
That's what
Take
I'm
your
gonna call
fear
it
and
now.
your weakness and turn it into your strength.
Yeah.
Like he supposedly, which I don't think even it's a weakness anyway, but like what other people feel is the weakness that I'm from there. He just reframed it into like, yeah, but think the bright side that you have a 24-hour business now
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm from there. But 7,000
Yeah.
That's
DMs.
that's 0.014% conversion rate.
Yeah, I know. Because my core message was so bad, and like I had a great mentor who like showed me, okay, this is not how you do it. This
What
is
made you
do.
keep going after like the 1,000 message? Because what you said, like most people said 100,
Yeah.
they don't get a respond,
Yeah.
and they just give up, and that's why
Yeah.
most of the times why people fail.
Yeah. I think
But what for you after not 100, not 500? What after the 2,000?
Yeah.
What in your mind was telling you keep going?
Yeah, I think it was more to do with I was already making some money, so I
Okay.
experienced the dollar mentality. Like, okay, I can make this money. Like once you make your first $5, $10, it opens up the whole world for you. Till now, it's like I have a PayPal account, I have everything, but I'm not getting clients. And actually, my first client was a $10 client for captions. I just had to write like 10 captions for them. That back then, ChatGPT didn't exist, so he reached out to me. He was my mentor actually, and he reached out to me. This was the first course that I'd bought, and he was like, "I'm looking for an odd task. Do you know somebody?" And I said, "Oh, what are you looking for?" And he said, "I just want like 10 captions written." I'm like, "I'll write it." He's like, "It's $10." I think it's okay. I'll write it still, and I wrote him 10 captions for $10, and I still have the screenshot on my laptop actually of that $10 as my first
Because
payment.
it was your first payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was like, I got $10 and converted at that time into like 700 rupees or something. And I was like, oh man, like this is actually possible. I can make money online. And then I even have it framed on my desk setup. So I've got a $10 like $10 screenshot. And then I've got when I made 1 crore rupees in revenue, which is like $150,000 in revenue in total on my PayPal account. So I have both of them side by side just to know that started from here and I've reached here kind of a thing.
So you started with $10 and then it became $150,000.
Yeah. In revenue in total, but yeah, profit margins are really good in social media management. So 65-70% profit margin business. So much because it's a service business, and if you have the right people, and now it's become even more profitable because of AI tools coming in. So
Oh yeah.
But going back to his question,
Yeah.
like what made you keep going, right? Because this is abnormal.
yeah,
Like so many people would literally
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
it up. Like I tried 10, okay, 100, yeah, okay, 1,000.
Even 100 is like a good number for
Yeah.
someone to keep going.
Yeah, but 7,000 is crazy.
yeah,
So, okay, that's great that you already had some experience, right? But what's in the background?
Yeah.
Like, what's the psychology behind it? Like, what makes you so driven?
I think at that point it was honestly, I'll not lie, monetary gains. Like I used to watch YouTube videos, I used to watch people in my group, like the mentorship group, and everybody closing clients worth $500 a month, $700 a month, $1,500 a month, and that's a lot of money in India. And I thought, like, I'm still in college. That is the age that I can take the risk. I was making some money, so I was investing it into cold email. So cold email is very automated as well. You don't have to do everything manually. So a lot of outreach was happening on automation as well with the cold email. And because I didn't have the money to give to that person for his mentorship, and he became a friend because I reached out to him via Messenger, via Facebook DM, by watching a YouTube video of his interviewing some other person. I reached out to him, I connected to him. I just said, hey, I loved your interview. Nothing. I asked him nothing. I told him nothing about myself. He responded back to me saying, oh, great to meet you. Great to connect with you. Perfect. I said, all right. And then he said, what do you do? I said, I do social media management. He said, do you have a portfolio? I sent it to him. And he said, okay, great to have you on file. I said, cool. Went about my day. 2 days later, he reached out to me saying my social media manager quit. Do you want to come and work for 2 of my clients as a white label partner? And I said, yeah, 100%. Wow. And he was really good at cold email. So he told me that he's launching like a cold email mentorship group. I told him, how much is it? And I think he said like $2,500. I said, I don't have that money. But he said, what do you want to do? I said, maybe I can give you $1,000 in credits that, you can pay me against, whatever clients I'm working with, you don't pay me, just minus it from that. And I'll give you $500 in cash and you can put me in the mentorship group. And he said, okay, that sounds good to me. So I got a discount. I paid $500. I did some work for him. And that's actually how my second company was born, One Line Labs. So when I was in that group at that time, personalized first lines did really well. When you personalize the email with just one line, that time again, AI wasn't there. So a lot of people on the group were struggling with this, that, how to write personalized first lines. And people were charging like 60, 70 cents per line. So I reached out to Michael, who was the mentor, and I told him, can I write personalized first lines for a student of yours? He said, yeah, go ahead. I wrote it. It was so tough. Like, in my head, I was like, okay, I'll write 100 lines a day. That means $70 a day. I'll make $2,000 a day, a month online. And when I started writing them, it just turned my brain into mush. So I was like, I wrote 10. They were pretty good. He said, yeah, it's good. You can send it over. I sent it over. I went on Upwork and actually hired a person to write personalized first lines for 20 cents. And I told him that I'm going to do this for 50 cents. Can you push me in the group? And he was really happy to, because I was solving an issue that his students were facing that made him look really well. That, okay, he also has a person who will write personalized first lines. And I did that. And yeah, I used to pay the girl 20 cents a line. And I used to charge 50 cents a line and make 30 cents in profit.
It's a beautiful service arbitrage model right there.
It was perfect. And then I was like, what company name should I go for? And then because I wrote one lines, so I saw it, One Line Labs. It's a company.
So that's why the name.
Yeah.
So that's your second company.
Yeah. And now it's really low because obviously AI has taken over so much.
Yeah.
But I think, just the adaptation of what I saw a need to adapt to it is really important. Like I said, a lot of people fall in love with the business idea. That, okay, I want to start a social media management agency, so I'll stick to it. But that's not how it works. You need to find something that, you see a demand, you act on it immediately. That's what gets you there. Like when I started to struggle with personalized first lines, was a lot of people were starting to not have them because they were so expensive. They were just trying to do more mass outreach than personalized outreach. I joined another mentorship, and that guy told me, who needs personalized first lines? I said, some people. So he said, what does everybody need when they're doing cold email? I said, leads. So he said, why don't you start leads? Give leads, and people who need personalized first lines, give that as an additional service. I was like, that makes sense. And yeah, I went with leads and lines then. So One Line Labs became a lead prospecting and personalized first line writing agency. Just because that person told me that you should do this, it made sense in my head. And I was like, yeah, I think that makes more sense. So that's how it turned into much more. And I think that became one of my biggest revenue models for at least 2 years, because I got into a lot of groups. I was working a lot on referrals. People were referring me left, right, and center because our leads were really good. And it just became a natural business model that I adapted into. But if I'd stuck to my social media management model, I wouldn't have been here today, just because back then it stopped working because Instagram, not a lot of people were doing. Reels didn't exist back then. So, a lot of people were just giving up on Instagram. They just wanted to do Facebook ads. And I never wanted to personally get into them. So I think just the adaptation of looking at what the market needs and providing that, even if I can't do it, hired somebody else to do it. I think at one point, One Line Labs actually had 18 writers, 18 personalized first line writers. And the first writer, I actually told them to become the manager because I couldn't handle 18 writers. Obviously, it was so overwhelming. So I told her, you be my point of contact. You hire whoever you want to. And she said, can I hire my friends? I said, sure, as long as they write good lines, because if a line goes wrong, it comes to you, not to me. And she hired her friends. So there were 15 girls from Pakistan who were all a big friend circle. She used to train them. She used to do everything. She used to get the first lines. She made a full board, Trello board and everything. Reports at the end of the day, every day to me. So I was just handling one person. She was handling everybody else. And it just became such a smooth business model into it. And then I had the same model for lead prospecting, one manager, 3 lead prospectors under them. He was responsible for lead quality to be good, and I was point of contact. So I had 2 point of contacts for service delivery, and rest was just sales on my end.
Seamless. Yeah, so good.
Are they still working for you?
No, so the manager is still there.
Yeah.
Even the company is not doing well, but I feel she is a person who's going to bring me a lot of money in the future as well. So I do have her on payroll right now. So she does odd jobs for my social media management agency right now.
Well, not just doing different job, but she's still a partner of yours.
Yeah, because I feel to find a worker like that who's good at what she does is really tough. And, you know, she's doing 2 jobs as well. So I pay her well enough to not get like a busy job because she's a nutritionist as well. So, you know, she works in the hospital in the mornings. She used to work for me at nights. And yeah, I mean, it's been like 3 years, more than 3 years she's been part of the company. She just got married. She sent me like pictures of her marriage. And, you know, I gave her a bonus, you know, just, you know, it's good to create that relationship and maintain it. And I think she's going to be a huge asset for me in the future for whatever I want to do.
And it's hard to find like also a good loyal people part of your team.
Yeah.
And she sounds a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because there are many paths you would follow wanting to make money online and live a different kind of lifestyle. Why did you choose the SMMA to do it?
I think SMMA made more sense to me than dropshipping. First of all, I don't think I'm the person who
did you try different?
Yeah.
Did you try dropshipping and other stuff?
Yeah,
I chose SMMA.
So I started off my journey growing theme pages actually on Instagram. I always wanted to become a YouTuber, so I did like, you know, YouTube videos of commentary, gaming commentary, things like that. Nothing worked. I had a really squeaky voice, and you know, it was just not working well. And that time I saw Instagram start to grow really well, so I started a motivational quotes page on Instagram, and I grew it to like 150,000 followers actually when I was 17.
Wow.
Really?
Fast. Over what period of time?
Over like under 1 year. That was. And I was still
Wow.
in school, like giving my board exams, like, you know, high school final exams kind of a thing while growing this page. And I remember on Social Blade, you know, you get those life counters that, you know, start rolling. And I remember when I reached like 99,900 something, I had it on like the laptop just to see the 100K getting hit. So that was a really good feeling to have. And then I was
What
actually
happened
like,
to that page?
yeah, so I basically got an offer to sell that page for $3,000. And at that time, I didn't have any businesses, nothing at all. It's like, yeah, $3,000 is like, you know, 10 months of salary after I graduate college. So I said, let's do it. I'm going to party. I'm going to be a big baller in college. And, you know,
I think you sell it a bit cheap, but
so then I got the DM and they said, oh, we need to verify the page is yours. So you give us the logins, you still have the email access to the page. So like, even if you try to do something, you can like take access back, which made sense at that time. I gave them the password.
Don't tell me they scammed
and
you.
they changed the whole thing. Like they changed the
Or
username.
they
things
stole
like
it
that.
from you.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then yeah, I think I was shocked. I couldn't believe it, like, you know. And then I actually got through to the guy who did it, and he said he deleted the page off of Instagram because somebody else scammed him of the same. So he also got robbed from his page. So he was trying to take revenge on other people and do the same thing.
So the scammer gets scammed.
Yeah. So he scams others. That's how a scammer is made. So yeah, and then I told my dad that okay, this happened,
What's
and
the
he was like, you know, what were you trying to do with the money that you would have gotten?
Oh, your father asked you that?
Yeah. And I couldn't tell him I wanted to party and like, you know, spend it all in college.
But he was 17, 18 years old. What
Exactly.
else would you want to do?
So I was like, I told him, oh, I wanted to buy an online course. So he said, which course? I didn't have an answer. So I told him, let me bring it to you. And I went online. I just searched business models you can start online. And I came across social media marketing as the first. And because I'd already grown an Instagram page, it made like sense to me to step into it. So it was like a 350 pound course. I told him this was it. This is the course I wanted. So he said, okay, I'll buy you this course as a startup capital thing. After this, it's all your responsibility. If you don't do well, then you have to go into a job. If you do well, then as long as you're making money, you can take care of yourself. And in the future, you do that. So he bought me that course, and that is how I started in social media marketing.
Still quite decent.
Yeah.
Like he still like supported you and gave you the course.
Yeah. I think that was a very big thing for me at least, to have that support in the back end from him just to get started on something.
So the startup capital came from your father.
Yeah.
In form of 350 pounds.
Yeah.
Did you give him shares?
Not shares, but yeah, my first payment, I actually bought him like a wallet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Since we talk about the Facebook ads and the SMMA and all that, there is a question that has to be put out there. Like, because we, you know, like especially from social media, you know, you have so many people like supporting the one and others support the other.
Yeah.
So based on in-action things, on your expertise and what you do, especially for international audiences as well, is Facebook ads still worthy to invest in 2024?
100%. I think Facebook not Facebook ads, but Instagram ads. I
Instagram
take
ads,
them
yeah.
as both the same. I definitely see a very big market right now on Instagram, and I think it's got everybody. It's got 50-year-old. My mom sends me memes every second day, so it's got every market. And I think she buys so much stuff off of Instagram. Like every second day, I get, oh, I want to buy this. Can you buy me this? Like she sends me a link, and it's like the trashiest drop shipping store there is. But
So it's
because
more worthy, you would say, for drop shipping stores, the ads that they do sell well.
I mean, it depends on like, see, dropshipping ads do really well. Education ads do really well. You know, there's so many people selling master classes on,
And courses and stuff.
courses.
Yeah.
They do really well. I think ads work for anything as long as you know who to target. Because I
Yeah,
think
so long
mostly
as well targeted and it's not random.
yeah, I think every target market exists on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And now with TikTok being just predominantly in the US more, I
Yeah.
think the world is shifted to Instagram just because TikTok got banned so many places. Like in India, TikTok is banned. So the whole of Indian
Oh, banned.
audience, yeah, because India and China had a feud. So
Oh.
they banned mostly China companies. So CapCut, TikTok, all of
That's
these
why
are
I
banned.
lost some audience from TikTok because I had like a 2% from India.
And on Instagram, you'll have much more because Instagram, all Indians switch from TikTok, Vine, everything to Instagram. So that's the mass. Like
You know what
every
other
mass
countries
media.
is TikTok banned on?
Huh?
What other countries have banned
I know of
TikTok?
India. I know I read an article. I don't remember, but there are certain, and there are few
There are a
places who are
few.
looking to ban it as well. So
Oh,
you know, in like right now is the best place to build a personal brand according to me is
It's
YouTube and
Instagram.
Instagram.
and YouTube.
Yeah, because YouTube is, I feel Instagram has become such a, you know, attention grabbing platform that you just have to do everything in the first 10 seconds of the video or you lose the person, while YouTube actually builds you so much trust. So I still believe in long form. Even though I run a short form content agency, I do believe long form
It's still
is
the good for
is
trust.
still the trustable platform. I think if people look at you, they relate to you, they find value from you, it's much better than just dancing for 10 seconds in front of the camera just to get one follower.
So would you say it would be the best as an approach is to do both?
Yeah.
To have the
Long form
Instagram
on
for
in-
short form and YouTube for long form.
Because it's easier to grow on Instagram as short form. So, for example, for me, I do cold email softwares, how to grow a social media marketing agency, all of this content on Instagram in short form with strategies and things like that. While I post long form on my YouTube on software tutorials,
build trust.
step by step. And then I take that people from Instagram who followed me because of that content, because somewhere they're interested in that, and then funnel them onto my YouTube channel so they can gain trust towards me that, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So you are not only offering these services to people, but you also use these kind of channels for yourself,
Yeah.
right? To market yourself.
Yeah.
So you do YouTube, you do Instagram, you have the social media marketing agency.
Yeah.
Like let's bring all of this together. So what are different kind of things that you are doing?
Yeah.
And how many revenue streams do you have right now?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are those 4 revenue streams, and like what percentage do they actually contribute to you as like a monthly income?
So I would say the main one is social media management agency, which is my main one. Social media marketing management, same. It's that agency brings me about, I would say 60% of my revenue still. And I think I really like to keep it that way because the second business of mine is a coaching business, which is basically teaching the Indian audience on how to start their own social media marketing
That's
agency.
only for Indian audience.
It can be used by people abroad as well, but the thought behind it I had was that it's not accessible in India. The information is really inexpensive in India.
And that's
Like,
why
I
you
bought
want
a
to target them.
350-pound course because I was privileged enough to have a father who could afford that. But not a lot of people are. And I don't believe that education should be barred with money.
And how much you sell your course to India?
$30.
30.
That's a big difference from the 350 pounds, which is like probably $420.
So you're offering the same amount of value.
Yeah, because I've taken course now worth $10,000 plus.
Yeah.
So I've taken all that knowledge and put it into my course
For $30.
in a very systematic way, because I don't like courses who talk like 2 hours in a video.
Yeah.
My courses, one video is like 18 minutes, but it's all how to do this, how to do that, how to do this, how to do that. And I already have like 350 plus people in it. We even offer like an award to people. So it's like a small award when they land their first client that, you know, presented by my course SMM incubator to landing your first client, just so they have something physical to remember that course by. And yeah, and I feel the reason I can sell it for $30 is because it's a passion project. It's like 20% of my income. I don't have to force somebody to buy it to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be that person who took somebody's life savings and they
To
curse
invest
me
in there.
and I am sleeping in, luxury kind of a thing.
But why not, let's say $100? Because it's still worth way more than that. Why did you choose like such a low
I think because I never planned to
price?
launch the course, honestly. It was never
so you
my
just
plan.
wanted to give it like more as a gift.
I didn't want to do it for free because I think free doesn't have value in it.
Yeah, and people
I think
don't
a lot of
appreciate
people
it
would
the
just
same.
take it and not implement it and just increase competition. So the way I launched the course was actually a very big fluke. I had this on my Notion board for a very long time. I had like a basic structure of what I wanted to do. And my girlfriend was like really after me that, you have a really good Indian. At that time, I wasn't even posting on Instagram. I just had some followers from my YouTube channel there. And my girlfriend was like, you need to do something for the Indian audience. And I said, no, I don't think so. Nobody's want to learn from me, things like that. And she was like, trust me, you need to. And I just took a picture of the Notion board while I was at the airport going to a place. And I just put it on my story saying like opening beta spots for the course. And if you want to join, DM me this word. And I got like 15 DMs saying that I want to join. And I didn't have a website. I didn't have a payment gateway.
So you
nothing.
tested it before
just
actually
wanted to
building
test
it.
So I sent to them, there's something called UPI, which is like a scanner in India that connects directly to your bank account. So I sent them a scanner and I told them just make this payment and we launch in 2 weeks. And they said, okay, cool. And I got onto the flight. When I got off the flight, I already had 8 payments in my bank account.
So now you had to do it.
Now I had to do it. So it was like worth it for me that I'll put in like 2 weeks. I got 8 payments. That makes me worth my time. And then I was in that place. I just worked for 5 days on the Notion board, went back home, recorded it in 1 week and released it.
I have done the same.
Yeah.
Because when you procrastinate, I found out that when you make the sale, you can't procrastinate anymore.
You have to deliver.
So when it was like a couple of years ago, we've been building a course, and there's been a lot of procrastination on the build-up process. So we make 5 sales in this course before we film the first video. Actually, in less than a month, we managed to build the content for the first 3 months.
Because you don't want to give the money
you already
back.
had like
it's either you build it or you give the money back.
Exactly.
And once you see it in your account, you don't want to give it back.
So there's one way there. It's done, especially if you already have banked like money from like 5-8 clients. Now I have to do it. So it gives you some extra pressure. That's why I'm a big believer and fan. Like I'm even saying this to some clients that if you want to launch something, pre-sell it.
Yeah.
Like and be honest about it. Like don't lie. Don't say like don't sell something.
Everything out.
Say like it's a pre-early bird offer. You don't have to mention that you haven't built it yet, or you're still in the building process or something. Just mention that it's pre-sale and it's going to be launched in 2 weeks. And realistically, you can launch it in 2 or 3 weeks, but just announce it. And some people may actually buy, because that also gives you feedback. Is it worth it for me to do it? Because if you announce the pre-launch
and nobody bought the pre-launch,
nobody give a shit about it. No, but not even a single DM, then probably is not the right time for you to do it.
Exactly.
But if you do launch the pre-launch and then you have some people already DMing you, then that's probably a good sign that there is an interest there. Even if no one buys, if you get 15 DMs, someone will buy. Because you already see that from the first story, which is the least amount of like interest that comes there. Like usually people need to see a story or an advertising 3 or 4 times before they consider buying from you. So if from the first story that you already had interest and purchases, that's a good sign that you need to do that. I did exactly the same thing earlier this year with my challenge. When I launched the advertising back in November for my challenge, I had nothing. I just wanted to see if that's something that will interest my audience. But I announced it as like I'm launching this challenge. If on this first story or second story I had 0 interest, I wouldn't launch this challenge. But no one would remember anyway, because that's how it goes. But in the first story, I had like 15 DMs as well. So I'm like, okay, now I have to launch it.
Exactly.
I think it's a very good approach. Because if you think about it, like you are trying to deploy limited resources against unlimited amount of opportunities. So the more progress you make, the more opportunities you start seeing, and you don't know which one to actually focus on. So once you already have an audience, or you have some sort of like a delivery mechanism that you can use to test the ideas, you should definitely do so. And by also getting people to put their money where their mouth is, then you have 100% confidence that this is something that's actually worth paying attention to. And I think the mistake that so many people do is that they don't dare to ask for it before they have it. So what they do is that they waste so much time, money, building stuff to find out that people don't even want this stuff. Right? So it's so typical.
And then they get frustrated.
Exactly. And I think that's very big, and especially in India, because online courses are still not that comfortable for people to buy. They don't trust you, they feel they'll scam you, who are you? So to combat that, I actually launched 2 masterclasses, one the cold DM masterclass and one a cold email masterclass. And the pricing on that, when I launched it for a live workshop, was $1.
$1?
Yeah. I launched it for $1. I did a live workshop. I had 100 people inside the Zoom call. And I did it live. I didn't even know what to do. I was just like winging it. I had a document prepared, but obviously there's a lot of pressure on you to do that. And then I was like, okay, this makes sense. And I got so many good reviews. So I screenshotted them and I was like, maybe I should sell the recording of this. And then I sold the recording for $2. And I had it in my LinkedIn bio all the time. And I started to generate sales because people saw a lower ticket product, which is $2. So they could put that money towards me, see if this guy actually knows what he's talking about, see he delivers the product, and then move on to the course, which was the higher ticket product. So this way I had a lower funnel going into my course funnel. And I don't like to be that person who sells your $1 workshop and talks about his $30 course the whole time. My approach was I'll give them the best value for $1. That when the end I mention that I also have a course, it becomes a no-brainer for them, rather than trying to sell my course from the beginning. So that became a really big thing. Then I priced it to $3, $4, $5. Now it's at $6 for the masterclasses. So I've got 3 links in my bios. 2 are masterclasses, which are still the most sold. And after that, people move on to the course if they feel. And if they don't want to buy the course because they already have so many courses, they just buy that one skill workshop that I want to learn how to do cold DM. So they just buy that and move on. So tomorrow, if I launch something new, they still know that Shivam is available for like more advanced stuff or whatever it may be.
So you are charging people for the first workshop as well. And then if people attend, they only have to pay $1. But if they don't show up or they don't attend, then if they want to get the recording, they have to pay more.
No, so it was just a once live workshop. So I did it once in 2020 or 21. And after that, I've just sold the recording again and again and again. So I never did it live again. So this way it became like, if somebody new found me through my reel, they came onto my profile and they saw like links, they automatically went and bought it on their own. So I have no involvement. So it became a more passive thing. And it's also attached to a WhatsApp community where people just talk to each other. So it's got like, I don't know, I think more than 500 members now. So that's a huge asset for when I'm reaching out to brands for like collaborations, that I can tell them that I've got a community with 500 people who are interested in cold DM. So I can reach out to a cold DM tool and tell them, why won't they use your tool?
I would love to dive deeper into the outbound stuff as well at some point during this conversation. Just to circle back to one of the earlier questions. So you mentioned you have 4 revenue streams, right? So one of them is the course. Do you consider the masterclass as well as a revenue stream?
So courses in the masterclass. So masterclass and course are the same. Then we've got the agency, which I already discussed. Then there's YouTube sponsorships and affiliates. So YouTube sponsorships are basically when brands pay me to showcase their software on my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel is small. It's just 2,500 followers. So 2,500 subscribers. And I've posted 165 videos. So I used to get like 10 views, 15 views, 20 views. I never stopped. I promised myself
I think that's the line where most people get frustrated and stop is when they...
I promised myself never to look at numbers. Just don't look at YouTube
when they
numbers.
Look at numbers.
I used to make one thumbnail. I had one Canva template for my thumbnail. So just change text on that. Used to just keep on posting. Like my first video, my camera is not even like, it's a 720p camera. And like even the recording, like you can't even go over 720p on YouTube to watch that video. So I started off that.
And how many subscribers you have today?
2,500.
2,500.
And 160 videos posted. But the 2,500 subscribers are so targeted because they are all coming from cold email softwares, cold DM softwares, that companies are willing to pay me $500, $750 per video just to get featured. And because my channel is all about tutorials and softwares, it doesn't even look like a sponsored video.
Yeah.
Because I'm just teaching them the software. And affiliates are just because I'm showcasing a software. So I just put the link. If you like the video, if you found some value out of it, just buy it through my link. And I think that's also generated me quite a lot of money. Like one software alone has made me over $5,000 in affiliates. And I've made them over $15,000 with just 4 YouTube videos.
Oh, wow.
How much do they contribute to your top line revenue on the monthly basis? So you have these 4 revenue streams.
Yeah, on a monthly basis, affiliates, like YouTube sponsorships just started like 2 months ago. That's when I started like to get people to reach out to me. That, okay, maybe you want to sponsor a video on your channel. Affiliates were always, since the beginning, part of it. So I would say like affiliates were like 15 to 20% because overall I've made that much, but on a monthly basis.
What do you have affiliates with?
Cold email softwares like Instantly, ManyReach, QuickMail, whichever I used personally and I find valuable because they don't pay me. I'm doing it by myself because I find the value in the software.
Okay.
And I'm just giving tutorials and I rank very high because I realized that people don't know how to set up softwares. They will always go on YouTube and search how to. So all my videos are mostly how to start warm up, how to set up instantly in under 15 minutes. All of these are the kind of things that I do so that people can come onto my channel, watch that whole video, follow me step by step and be like, yeah, this guy makes sense. Let me buy it through his link because it's not costing them anything. And that gives me like a 20-30% commission on a monthly basis. And because these softwares are such that if a person sets them up, they'll keep them for life until the agency is running. Because if you're set up on a software like Instantly, you won't like 2 months later say, I want to try something different. Because you set up all your email accounts on it, you set up your warm up on it, you have your campaigns on it. So once that person gets on, I get paid monthly. So even if a YouTube video has been posted 6 months ago, it still will get me 1 new client next month without me even doing anything.
So what were the numbers again?
So it was 60% agency, 20% courses, 10% affiliates, and let's say 10% right now sponsorships. Because I haven't got a lot of sponsorships yet, but I am working on setting up some more outbound campaigns for sponsorships because I definitely see that value being there for the time that I'm spending to the money I'm making on that end.
How do you see this contribution changing over, let's say, the next year? Or do you think that they are going to kind of like remain around the same ratio, or you see that one of them or multiple of them are actually picking up and you expect more revenue coming from that channel?
I think personal branding is going to pick up, in my personal opinion, because I feel personal branding is a very big play on time. A personal brand cannot be built in 3 months, 6 months. It takes years of efforts to reach to a point where people can see this guy has been online for a long time.
Yeah, it takes like years to build a trust.
There's an agency owner called Iman Ghazi, which if somebody who watches SMMA knows, everybody knows Iman Ghazi. If you go back to his channel, you can find videos from 2016 when he did not have money to buy a book. He was buying used books in London. Today, he lives in Dubai with 5 supercars. So he's got his watch collection worth $1.5 million. I mean, if somebody wants to question his legitimacy, they can go back and actually see him struggling at 16 as a school kid. Yeah. And now he's 24 doing what he's doing. So I feel personal branding is such a big play on, time and effort spent. And like we already talked about persistence, like I don't think a lot of people would be posting 100 plus videos on YouTube if they just had 900 subscribers.
Yeah.
They won't be posting.
I would struggle as well. I'm not going to lie with that. Although I'm building this to detach from the numbers completely, but I admire this so much because I've, as a creator myself, last years, I know how numbers affect you.
Yeah.
Positively and negatively.
Yeah, exactly. You get one viral reel or one viral video, you're like
go
motivated
crazy
for the next 3 months. Like, okay, let's do this kind of a thing. But yeah, I think looking at numbers is one thing that I've trained myself into. And I think also like I had this in myself. If this was given to me by my parents, by my upbringing, I don't know. But even when like I got the $3,000 scam happened to me, I got out of it like this. Like it didn't affect me as much as it should have affected me.
Yeah.
And it's a positive and negative because even when I'm close a new client, I don't celebrate it. Like
That
I don't
needs a
celebrate
little bit
my
of celebration sometimes.
exact. It's like
Not crazy.
I
but
don't
just
celebrate my
something.
like I don't like dwell in my losses as well as celebrate my victories. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like, you know, it's a good thing that I don't pay attention to my losses, but it's also a bad thing that I can't celebrate my wins because I'm always focused on the next.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Do you feel like you're so focusing on the next that you don't take some time to appreciate the present?
yeah, 100%. I
What
think that's
What would be one aspect of yourself from your observation that you would like to work more on?
just being happy in the moment. I think I'm always thinking about what next,
Ahead.
adding, because I feel like I don't ever want to be the person who has all eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So I'm always working on new baskets. I'm always trying on something different. I'm always trying to do something else. I'm always thinking, okay, like I used to work Monday to Sunday. Now I've started taking Sundays totally off. But on Sundays also my head is always spinning on, you know, okay, are we gonna get new clients next month? Who's gonna stay on next month? Oh, we didn't make a sale for the course today. Is everything okay? Like, you know, I think I just need to learn how to like take time to stay calm towards myself.
What's going through your head when you are able to detach yourself from this kind of outcomes? Because some people use it as motivation, and that's what they are looking at. So what do numbers mean to you?
Just, I think right now it's more numbers on the screen. I think I don't see them like, I once got paid a little bit of cash and I was like, okay, shit, this is like a lot of cash, you know? But when you see it as a number on the screen, and I think I'm more into like, I understand the value of compounding right now because I'm still young. So I started investing at 21 as well. Started with like $50 a month, but just I knew the power of compounding. So I think I'm just trying to work more towards the future that, you know, okay, let's make more money, let's invest more, let's buy this. Like, you know, you have that thing that, oh, I want to buy this. Like for me, when I first came out, I was like, when I take my first trip to Bali, it's going to be insane. But it's nothing. Like once I reached here, it was nothing. Like, you know, so I think I need to more focus on, okay, getting a win, you need to celebrate by, even if it's just buying yourself dinner, you know, there has to be something attached to it. And I feel
Why you don't do that?
I honestly don't know. I just feel this need to be doing much better. And especially I think with the kind of people I
That's
have around
interesting.
me,
Yeah.
is also, especially with my network of friends, you know, whether they be businesses or whatever, I see because I've surrounded myself with people who are doing extremely well. You know, there's a
Comparison
difference between,
could be.
sorry?
Comparison probably.
Yeah, there's a difference between, you know, surrounding by being the best in the room and by being the lowest in the room, because most of them are family businesses. So they do have that edge over, like, you know, they've established that business over 10 years. So I still compare them to myself where I'm just 4 years old, for example. And I also believe that you see online business as a wave. You know, when TikTok came, Facebook ads, quote unquote, died. So you needed to adapt really quickly. So it's also about making sure that you're milking the agency to its max. You're milking the personal brand to its max. What if Instagram goes out tomorrow? It won't happen, but there's always that when you don't have
Have
a
the next step ready.
physical brick and mortar thing. Like people in COVID suffered who had brick and mortar. Like there's no business that's safe ever.
Yeah.
With AI now coming in, with anything, like anything can happen in this world, any business can go. But I believe that in my head, I'm like, I need to always be doing more just to make sure that I'm getting the most out of everything. I'm always looking at new ideas. If I see a demand, if I see Facebook ads running for something constantly, I'll add them to my list that maybe tomorrow, if I have 1 hour a day extra, I'll start this.
What I'm interested in that what you just said, that you said that you need to milk it while you can. But at the same time, you're also preparing for a future scenario which has not come yet.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your attention or the resources that you deploy against these two things, like what percentage of that actually goes towards the present moment that you need to milk it as much as you can versus investing into future? Because there are some cases as well that companies were so focused on what's working today that they totally missed out on the next thing. Like Kodak, right? Totally missed out on the digital revolution.
100%. By future, I don't mean business future, I mean personal future. So investments into stock market, investments into, you know, ETFs, funds that grow my money when I'm not working on that money. So it's money that I don't see, but it's growing on the side while I'm growing money into my business. And then, you know, I take a certain percentage for myself. But right now, I'm not doing that. Like, I could be doing much more in a personal capacity to live a better life, which I'm not doing because I'm more focused on tomorrow in terms of the future that I want for my parents, for myself, as well, because they're 60 years old now. So I do believe, as an Indian, you do have a responsibility of your parents as well, that you need to take care. And especially with the kind of upbringing my parents gave me, I do believe that I owe them the best life they have when they're retired, when they're home, So I believe I work towards that as well. And, I know that this is for the future because I run a future based business. I adapted AI into business as soon as I could. I adapted Reels into my business as soon as I could. So I do know I have the ability to do that. It's just that I still feel that, okay, I need to be doing more that I'm not doing more because there's always a person doing much better than you. So I believe that I'm trying to climb that ladder too fast versus when I can do it slowly and maybe much better if I do it with a more calmness in my head. So I think that's what I'm trying to like work on a personal ground.
I need to point out that because I feel it the same, and I've been experiencing the same, that a lot of times you cannot celebrate your small wins. And yeah, it's good to think ahead how to take care of your parents and your future, but at the same time, will we like it or not, we don't know if we're gonna make it to the future.
True.
So I found like through some conversations in my head with myself, what percentage of my life I also want to completely focus on doing what I can do today to give me this bucket list checks or this extra bits of joy or things that I want to do. Because at the end of the day, like literally, it's good to invest in the future, but what if there's no future than past 2 years from now?
Yeah, I think
what are
that's
things I would regret if not doing.
I think that's what I've started to realize as well. That I'm out here, or going on trips, things like that, just because I realized like that okay, things. Maybe I need to experience this life. Like before I even made my first solo trip to meet a mentor that Michael talked about. He's the person who opened up me to like solo trips. I went to Chiang Mai in Thailand, and once I landed there, I was obviously stressed out, didn't know what to do, never did step out of my home, and then I discovered there's a big world out there. And then I discovered travel as a very big thing that I want to do in my life.
And it also builds you. Like even though we feel sometimes that it takes time out of the business or the future or the work, in reality, it builds you more. Because sometimes it can just give you the rest time that you need, so you can go back into it with a more clear head and different ideas. Because in the rest time, some ideas pop, and then you go back to the same problem, and you can find a solution. And also, like it or not, life is so unpredictable. So you can do one random trip to Chiang Mai or Bali and meet one person that he can give you an information, and then you're like, oh wow,
exactly,
I can use this in my business. And then it was a missing piece of the puzzle.
I think I found so many people
and
who
friends.
have had that connection with, exactly. I've met so many people who are now running 8-figure companies who are doing like manufacturing artificial meat in Australia with AI. And that time they were just starting out, and now they have an 8-figure valuation. And I can say that I met them, I've been friends with them, I think that's a really big thing, that especially in the online world, when you're working online, when you meet people who are doing the same thing, same field as you get to know so much from them that you won't discover on your own, because you're sitting in a bubble of your room and just looking into a screen.
I just would like to make one point on the present versus future, because I relate to that so much. My partner and I just recently talked about it, that how much time do I spend on thinking about the past, present, future, and my numbers were maybe past 10%. I don't think too much about the past. Maybe I spend like 20 to 30% in the present moment, and everything else, future. Like 60% future state, right? And like her numbers are very different. And what I actually learned, and the realization that I had to come to, is that if I don't learn how to appreciate and be present whichever future state I'm going to be in, that's going to be my present in the future, and I'm not going to still enjoy that. I'm not going to be grateful for that anyways. So sooner or later we have to learn how to be present, because even if you think about the future, that future is going to become your present moment, and you are not going to be there. You are
it becomes a pattern.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like you're never going to reach that state.
That was also a part of realization, and I would say in my life, a lot of things changed in Bali, and it changed because I wasn't the same thing as just what you said, like contemplating, like thinking about the future and future. And it was a realization moment when I landed here last year, and it was after about a month and a half, I would say. And it was that moment that I realized that everything I dreamed and wished for 2 years ago now is happening, and I'm living it. And I'm still cutting myself, being stressed about the future and be so caught up in my head about the next steps and hustling and everything. Like, what's the point then? If now I'm living what my 2 year ago self ever dreamt of, making the money that I dreamt of, living the life that I dreamt of.
I think that's
like
a very
where this will stop.
That's a very big thing, because I just had this conversation yesterday, because the people that I came here with, we rented a villa, and we were discussing, or 2 years ago we saw a person very big on YouTube staying in an exact villa like ours.
On the same villa?
Exact villas, like
a
little bit different, like
similar.
And we were like looking at that YouTube video 3 years ago and thinking, man, will we ever be able to afford this? Will we ever be able to come here? And now that we are here, we don't have any appreciation for it whatsoever.
Exactly.
We are here, but we're not here. We are just like, okay, now that same person has a $500,000 watch on his wrist, so we are like no, that's our
It's
thing.
not gonna give you the happiness though.
So again, I was like, if this is what this is, like, we are staying in a villa, we have a room, we have a really good weather, we can order in, you can have fun, you can go partying, you can meet so many new people, but still you're thinking about, I don't have that watch on my hand, like, but that guy's grown so much, I feel that's so, like, it gives you like a reality check that when 2 years ago you thought that this is going to make you happy and it didn't, and now 2 years later you're thinking of another thing that's going to make you happy. I think it's a really vicious cycle to be in. Like, for example, in Bali, when I had this realization, there's always a car that I've wanted since I was a child. And
Which one?
It was a Mercedes A limousine, and it's really expensive in India because German cars are imported into India, so it's like almost double the cost of what it would cost in the US or Germany. And I didn't buy that car. I bought a separate car because it was lower, like it was like a Skoda, like a lower. And then I was just thinking that I've bought that car. It brought me happiness, but I still am like, maybe I should have gone for the one that I always wanted. So I'm considering when I go back home, maybe I should switch to that car, because even if it's temporary happiness, I can check things off my bucket list. Otherwise, when I turn 26, 27, 28, I'm going to have a wife, I'm going to have kids, then you keep on delaying the pleasure that you want to give yourself, because right now it's just me. At the end, I'm taking care of myself in Bali, I'm taking care of myself, giving something back home, but not like 100%. But 3 years later, when it'll be 100%, then what? So I'm starting to see that you shouldn't like not look into the future, but you should always do the things that you were looking to do in the future, and also like go back 2 years and be happy about it. Like I found this notebook of mine that I used to write 3 years ago, where I used to write the clients that I closed. And I had a month where I made $300 and something, and I had like balloons around it saying that, okay, this is my biggest month. And I remember that happiness. Today, even if I make $5,000 a month, I'm not that happy. I was happier making $350 a month, because that money meant so much. And at that time, my 19-year-old self was like, you're making a ton. Do
you believe it was the money that makes the difference or the achievement?
Oh, at that time?
Yeah.
Achievement, 100%.
Exactly.
And I think that turned into money, because now you've got responsibilities, now you've got expenses, now you've got expensive tastes or lifestyle changes that you made. And now you're just so busy maintaining that you actually forget to say that, okay, this is really good. But like I'm doing something from my laptop.
It has become the norm now to make money from your business. Like you were so excited back then, it was the first ones that were coming in. Now it has become a norm. Like, that I can make like ups and downs. Some months I make that, some other months I make that. But
I think that happens with everything. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Roger Federer is also not as happy winning a tennis match as he was when he won his first cup.
You need to. That's an internal work.
Exactly.
Like to keep practicing gratitude. Because
Exactly.
the same thing goes with a car. Like you at some point you get your dream car, and
After
the
that
first
is the next one.
the first few rides, you're ecstatic.
Yeah.
After the first month,
It's just a
you
car.
need to do the internal work to keep
Exactly.
appreciating this car every day.
Exactly.
You need to do the internal work to keep appreciating this. Although I'm not a materialistic person, I do believe that some material things in life that we always want them and they are useful or they bring us joy, they're useful to have them. I never believe that any material will ever actually give happiness to you, but
a sense of
they can give you a sense
maybe.
of achievement and joy and fulfillment to some degree. But you need to remind yourself that you get what you always want, because it's not about the material itself, it's what it means for you.
You reached a goal and you could say that I can finally afford it.
And bound it with the emotion that this, my bike or my car, it represents the goal I hit. It's not about the car anymore.
It's about the sense
you did it. It's about the achievement that you did. And keep reminding yourself to keep yourself grounded and be grateful for that. Otherwise, you're always going to ask and need the next material. It's as you say, like now you live in the villa you always dreamed of, and your mind went to the watch. And the truth is, no watch will ever going to make you happy. You don't need the watch to be happy. Like, what is a watch? It just tells you like what time is it. And it's just like a nice
accessory.
Although I do accessory, and I love accessories and jewelries and stuff, and I do believe like a good watch is like a nice accessory. But it's just an accessory.
Exactly.
And should be an accessory to your joy and happiness too.
Because I think like if you stop buying things as well, like if you solely maintain that and you are living a monk lifestyle, then you do question at a time that why am I doing this? Obviously, some things may not be worth it, but they are worth it to you. I think I've never like discounted somebody for buying a Rolex or for buying a Casio just because it's what means to them and what they bring out of it. Like, I never believe in people say it's a depreciating asset. If I believe that it's going to push me 10 times more, I don't believe it's a depreciating asset, It's more about that feeling that you get from it.
Exactly.
So we covered quite a few things already. But what I also would like to find out from you is that if you had to start from scratch today, where would you start? Because we were throwing words around: trust, money, this much revenue, course, revenue, YouTube, all of those kind of things, which can be super confusing for someone who is just starting out. So where would you start?
I think I would take a full approach towards documentation as being a very key part of my journey. I would start to document me starting an agency from scratch on YouTube and on Instagram Reels. So day 1 of starting my own agency, day 2, day 3, day 4. Because what that will do is first I'm building myself from the beginning and showcasing it online. So I become accountable to the people who start to follow me. So that's a very big accountability thing. Later, it builds a very big personal brand for me because now I understand the importance of personal branding. And I'm really, like, if I look back, the only thing I would change about my business journey would be to document it for myself and for the people. So I would start to document it, learning how to do cold DM, sending out the worst cold DM, sending out the worst cold email, doing all of that as a part of documenting my whole journey. While I'm doing that, I would choose a service that I feel is right now popular. Maybe Reels is now very popular, video editing is popular, something that has the demand right now. Choose that service, choose a niche in that service that makes sense to you, whatever you feel. If you want to do dating coaches, you target dating coaches to build chatbots for example, and then start reaching out to them. See where they hang out. If they are a plumber, they won't be looking at their emails. They'll be looking at DMs, they'll be looking at messages, they'll be taking calls. So reach them there. If it's a real estate agent, they'll be on their Instagram all the time or all the cold email. Reach them over there. So see where your prospect is hanging out. If it's a CEO that you want to reach out to, go on LinkedIn because people just use LinkedIn. If it's a SaaS company, go on Twitter because all SaaS companies are on Twitter these days. So just find where people hang out. Don't be a headless chicken and just try to do everything. And then once you find that, give yourself a goal. Don't give yourself a 100 DM goal, 100 cold email goal. Give yourself a goal that will never make you look back to it. So if I bring myself to a goal of 10,000 outreaches, after 10,000 outreaches, I will never look back. If I didn't land a single client, I will never look back into that niche saying, oh, maybe I didn't try hard enough. I can eliminate something off, move on to the next. Elimination
so you just eliminate
in business is key.
the benefit of the I could have done it hard enough.
Exactly.
Because you already done it hard enough.
Exactly. I think elimination is key in business because I see so many people looking at the next best thing.
Same as when if you, I guess, want to grow an Instagram account or something, don't give yourself a goal of like, I'm going to try this for a month.
Yeah.
Just set like the most insane goal that if you do it and it actually didn't work, then you have literally
exactly. Like I posted 500 reels.
Posts.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to choose the right metric because time there is not the right metric because you can spend like an entire month doing nothing.
Exactly.
Right. So you need something that's actually measurable there.
Yeah. And I feel a very big part of online business is to stop watching content.
Stop watching?
Yeah. Like
why?
Take two people, for example. Like on YouTube, everybody is going to sell their course to you.
Yeah.
And when they want to sell their course to you, they'll make their service look the best. Yeah. So when you search for cold DM, you start with real estate agents. You start looking at real estate agents. You look at 2 videos and be like, okay, real estate agents is what I'm going to do. You start doing outreach. 200 messages later, you go back to a YouTube video to see if there's any new strategy. And there's this new guy who's saying real estate agents is dead. Try plumbers.
Oh,
so you're like, oh,
so just
let me try plumbers.
And do it.
Exactly. Then when you're going through that video, you'll see a video, I made $1 million doing drop shipping. Oh, drop shipping, let me try that. So you forget about SMMA, and then it's a vicious cycle to be in. So I always say choose 2 mentors, 3 mentors that you can trust, unsubscribe everybody else, just watch them, learn from them and implement them. They've reached somewhere and make sure that you know that they've reached somewhere. Don't just follow somebody because they have a big number on their video. Go and look at the history that they've been through.
Yeah.
I think that's a very big thing, that look at the
history. Because especially with what you said with dropshipping, I remember like I watched a video saying like dropshipping is dead 1 year ago or something, and I met a guy in person like a few months ago that he started dropshipping 6 months ago, like quite recently, even though they say that currently dropshipping is dead, don't start now, it's too late. Bullshit. Like I know many people that started now dropshipping and they're making in the first 2-3 months good money.
Yeah. And I love that people do those kind of videos because it eliminates competition out of people who are not serious.
That's so true.
And whoever says something is dead is trying to sell your course on something else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 100% the case.
How many posts would you put if you started today, short form content, as your elimination strategy? Like I have to do this amount of posts.
If I start doing outreach or if I start posting on my
just posting to grow organically.
I think I would honestly do at least 124 months of constant posting.
Okay.
Because I feel like
that's short. I would be with the 7,000 number of years. I would
say because short form content is, and you need to make sure that the content is engaging. You can't just post shit. You have to make sure that what you're posting makes sense to post. I think that's a very big issue that people just see and just start posting. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen actually videos going viral of day 1 of posting Lightning McQueen to show my marketing manager that this can get more followers. And within 10 posts, they have like 1 million followers.
Which account is that?
There's a lot of accounts doing this now. That they're just posting a picture of Lightning McQueen. You know the Cars movie, Lightning McQueen? And they have the caption on it saying, proving my marketing manager long that McQueen can get 1 million followers in 30 days. And people are doing that. There's so many people who are posting, want to buy my dream bike, donate $1. And then they have the QR code and they're actually raising money through just posting this. I mean, you just have to be innovative enough in the market to understand. And I feel like today's time, value content and documentation content is the best content that you can post. And skit, like Max, what you're posting. I love watching a video every day. Even though if I'm not into fitness, as soon as you come on my page, I make sure that I watch a full video just because the split personality that you show of a gym bro and a person doing it wrong and things like that, it makes so much sense for me. Because I've seen those kind of people in the gym, or I've been that person myself, that now I can laugh at it and say, like put that ego down with your dumbbells and pick up something lighter. For example, like that stuck into my mind, even though you may not have thought about it doing it that way because it's general knowledge to you, but for somebody else, it's not. If I tell people that, put your cold DM through in a Google Doc and it's going to tell you the mistakes that you've made, and they are astonished. Oh my God. I can actually put my cold DM into a Google Doc and it's going to highlight what's wrong. Even if you don't want to use something like Grammarly, just use Google Doc. It's going to tell you where you're wrong. And people are like, oh my God, I'd never thought about this because For you, it's basic. When people ask me, how do I think about pricing? I'm really confused about pricing. Okay, go and post a job on Upwork and say the exact person that you would be looking for. So, for example, if you're selling to dating coaches, Instagram Reels, post a Upwork job saying that you are a dating coach looking for Instagram Reels and check out what the competition is charging. Based on that, charge yourself. I think that's a very big thing that you need to be doing. Just analyze competition, know where your competition is, do that. I think everything is so basic, but people do make it such a big issue that they always try to stop themselves from doing something. It's always that case.
I think we have already learned a lot from this conversation. As we are soon coming to an end, we have a tradition on this podcast where we have this deck of cards. This is from a good friend of ours that allows us to get to know the person we are speaking to on a deeper level. Yeah. So we are not just saying what's visible, but also what's under the surface. Yeah. So I'm going to give you these cards and you are going to need to pick one. Okay. And there is going to be 3 questions. Okay. Pick the one that makes you the most uncomfortable.
Right.
So what are the questions there?
So do you ever talk with people in your imagination? What about? Who can you talk about your mental health with? How often do you compare yourself with others and why?
What's the last one?
How often do you compare yourself with others and why?
Always relevant.
Yeah, when I saw the card, I was like, the last question is going to be the one. But I think I do it probably multiple times a day. I think that's the hard reality. Even if I want to say once a week, I can't, because I am on YouTube. And because of the kind of content I watch, I automatically get suggested such things that, because I like to watch, people bigger than me, what they're doing in their business, how they're structuring it, and always numbers are talked about. And I feel that makes me really compare myself to them, that because there are so many people who started after me and are doing really well. And I think, okay, what did I do wrong? Or how will I reach a particular point in time where I can do that? And I feel that's a big thing that I'm trying to solve in terms of, not going online that much, or trying to stray away from those kind of videos and watch more mindset, more mental stability, more like being with yourself kind of videos. Then, for example, I was always into watching just business. Now I've actually focused away into travel and food content because I love food and I love traveling. So when I go on YouTube, I can actually go off the grid. My mind can go off of business, off of numbers, can actually focus on, something that's fun for me to watch. So I think that's what I'm trying to do to get this down to a level where it's controllable.
But where do you think that's coming from? The need to always compare.
I think the need to always compare is just the need to always be better for yourself. I think that's what drove me to starting my agency. I think that's what drove me to do those outreaches, because I always saw numbers from other people. That's what motivated me. So I think if it gave me that, then it's valid that it's giving me this as well, because it took me there. Like I see a lot of people, when one thing works for them, as soon as that thing works for them, they give up on it and they move on to the next. Like if you land your first client through cold DM, as soon as they land their first client, they'll come to me and say, I want to start cold email. If you have a winning script on cold DM, just double down on that.
Yeah.
So I think I don't see it as a very big negative, because it got me till here. So it does have plans for the future. But if it's affecting me mentally, I know that it has to scale down to a level where I'm comfortable with the numbers I'm doing, but also have that push to do better. Because I don't want to plateau or get complacent that, okay, I'm doing well. So I think it's a good thing to have, but it's not a good thing to overdo it with your brain, because then you burn out internally without even doing anything.
Yeah, I agree on that. And if I had this question, I would also be like, quite often, I would say the comparison.
Yeah.
And even though I'm trying to help people with eliminating this in their lives, and it's just so hard not to do it. And maybe it's not even a bad thing. Yeah. I think it's only a bad thing when it affects you mentally. Because I think not comparison, but to keep watching the people who are ahead of you on this journey as an inspiration.
Yeah.
This is a good thing to a healthy level. And it's also like a healthy version of comparison to compare where you've been to where you're going.
Yeah.
But I think it becomes quite toxic when we compare ourselves on our current chapter of our lives to someone else's completely different journey.
Exactly.
Because they have different goals than us.
And I think they face the same issue as well. You know, when I was at zero and I used to look at somebody at $3,000 a month, and they used to say, I want to reach 10,000. I was like, why? You got $3,000 a month. You should be enjoying life. But now when I went there, I also look towards that. So I think that person itself is looking at maybe someone bigger than him and going through the same stress.
Exactly.
And is that meme where a person on the cycle is looking at the person on the bike is looking at the car is looking at the helicopter.
We all see that picture too.
So I think that's perfectly what I think everybody in their life does in any field. Even if they're a corporate worker, they look at a manager, they look at a CEO. For a business owner, you look at another business owner.
But they only see the good side of their picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Because let's say that you're making 10K a month. To make 50K a month might sound fancy, but do you know what stress comes for and responsibilities?
It's crazy.
I feel like a lot of people would feel way happier and fulfilled in their life if they try to truly ask themselves with
how much money do you actually need
to be happy and live the life. What kind of life do I want to live as well? Because not everyone should make millions. You know, you can be settled and feel fulfilled with less, but enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't settle for less money, but you don't need to keep pushing it. There can be a threshold that you're like, my life is great now. I don't want more stress. Because every time you make more money, usually comes more responsibilities and stress. So find out what you actually want, what's your priorities in life, and detach from the society standards or other people's goals. And a lot of people, they are adopting other people's goals as theirs.
Yeah.
It's not your goals. You just compare yourself to how much money this person makes. But look what other things is happening in this person's life. Do you want that too?
Yeah.
Because you can't have that without the other.
Yeah.
So just be more honest with yourself and your goals.
Yeah.
I think that would be it would just clear the picture in your head. Or like, I don't want to make $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make, great.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
I will settle for like 20K. That's good.
Yeah.
And it's not settle for me. It's like, that's what makes me happy because it's enough money to live whatever current I want to live, but not that. Another person will be like, nah, 20K for me is little. Nothing. I want 100K for what my vision is about. But just find like where about is what you want. I just stay with that.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
I think it's what you want to do. Like for me also, it's not living a really luxury life and not being able to sleep at night, not being able to spend time with my partner, with my family. I think for me, it's money is important. I do like luxury things, I won't lie. But I think like 15K is like more than enough. Have 2 employees so you don't have to do everything yourself, but you also get weekends off. You work 6 to 7 hours a day, get good life, have a healthy life, eat good, go to the gym, spend time with your partner. I think that's a perfect life. You don't have to have everything.
Speaking of gym, I'm looking forward for your transformation after our conversation the other day. He has committed this time to keep following what I told him about like his nutrition and training back in India. So I'm gonna watch you. Yeah. And I'm stating here like that's a commitment you make to the podcast and 100%. Your followers and everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
We're gonna see Shivam's transformation.
You know, I think he's the guy who is going to nail it.
Oh yeah.
Like someone who doesn't give up after like 7,000 cold outreaches and still going. That guy is going to crack it.
He has the discipline to do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling him like
I just need the right people around me and I think I've got that for fitness. Like I told him I never found the right person and I just felt instantly connected with Max. So I think it's going to be a great journey when you see me next.
Yeah.
Jacked. Well, I'm going to get him jacked. Closing question is like if you want to leave this podcast with one piece of advice to someone who listens, what would be that?
I think just drive yourself. It's really hard to stay disciplined, especially when you're young and you see so many things happening out there. But I feel that I'm really grateful to 18-year-old Shivam, even though he knew like quarter of what I know right now, just to keep on it. I think just it's really important to grasp whatever you can. And I think not saying no to opportunities. Even if you don't know how to do something, say yes.
And
got
figure
so
out
many
how.
online sources now. You can just go to ChatGPT and ask it, and it's going to give you a more legit answer than maybe 5 books gave you back then. So I definitely feel that's how you grow. That's how you become a better person. I think that's what I would say if an 18-year-old person is watching this.
Yeah.
Well, that was beautiful.
We got to talk about a lot of interesting stuff here.
Yeah.
Very inspirational, and I'm 100% sure that the audience is going to get something out of this. Your story really reminds me to Chris Pant, who is running, Notion YouTube channel, Notion course, all of that. I see some similarities in your journey and also in the mindset that you guys have. Have you met him?
No, I missed him by 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're gonna make that introduction happen at some point. I still wanted to dive deeper into outbound. We didn't do that, so we will have to have you back at some point, just to cover that and also to see where you are going to be at that point in time.
We have to have a part 2 that will cover the outbound and more stuff about organic and ads marketing. That will be also interesting.
100%. And make sure that you are going to call your mom and dad and just say them thank you, because it seems like they did a lot of things right.
Yeah, they did.
So I think they deserve the appreciation as well. So mom and dad, good job.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, I think
a great job.
they're the parents I want to be for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Thank you, Shivam.
Thank you
it
so
was
much.
Pleasure
guys,
to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
It was great.